In the older RVs, the drain zipper will work fine, but in the newer RVs, you got to be careful. So last week's video about a day in the life of work camping spurred a whole lot of questions from you guys.
So today we're going to try to answer some of those questions. We have some laundry to do, so we're going to start there.
Let's go.
Question number one, James asked, are cargo trailers allowed in the campground?
Talking with folks that have experience in other campgrounds, I think the appearance of the outside is probably the biggest concern in parks like KOAs or corporate type parks. You have seen in our previous video at Assateague Island, which is a national park, there was a cargo conversion trailer right next to us. We saw it out the window. Out in Quartzsite on BLM land, of course, it's a great place to have them as well. We've seen them in state parks that we've been in and state parks that we've worked at in different states. We had a schoolie conversion that came in here and they were more in a site kind of back in the woods. I don't see a reason why they couldn't be in here. That's just my perspective and from the folks I've talked to. I don't know that there's a rule against it per se. If it's something that you're concerned about at the park you've made a reservation at or that you're going to go to, you may want to consider making a reservation in like a tent area or something like that if you're looking to kind of be stealth with it. Because I've seen lots of people coming to tent camp and they'll bring like a utility trailer to bring all their stuff in anyway. I couldn't see why there'd be any problem with having a small cargo conversion camper in, a tent area. That might be one option, but honestly, if it's a decent looking rig and something you're proud of, I wouldn't see why you couldn't take it into most parks. And if they don't want you there, probably not the place you want to be anyway. Same for us with the 10-year rule. We have a 2006 Cedar Creek fifth wheel now. There's some place that wants to enforce that rule on us. We wouldn't want to be there anyway, and we would just move on. And even if we got to stay at Walmart for a night until we can figure something out, we'd be fine with that. So, hope that helps. Questions number 2 and 3 are from Brian. And Brian asks, how many hours a week do you work and how many days off do you get? Well, today happens to be our day off and we are in North Conway, New Hampshire.
We tried to take one day a week and have a little date time.
That's right.
Go for coffee and just spend time together.
It's usually a morning trip. We normally go to the vegetable stand and we'll go get a cup of coffee together. But today we've come to North Conway to look at some of the shops and check out the railroad. Maybe we'll be taking this bad boy on a little tour later this summer. Here's hoping.
Every campground we've worked at, the managers or the owners have always done a really good job. It's important to them that we get our time off.
In our experience, they always try and schedule families or couples off together so you can go do things because they know you're traveling to see the area. Now, having said that, there's also folks working at our campground that only work 2 or 3 days a week and get 3 or 4 days off. So that's a possibility too. It depends on the campground. But like at Mill Creek, where we worked the last 2 seasons, you can check out videos about that here. Everybody worked 40 hours a week. So
right.
Everybody worked 5 days a week and that's just the way that it was. And you got 2 days off. And typically your 2 days off are not going to be on the weekend because that's the busy time for campground.
What I would recommend is if you are needing certain days off a week or just you have a desired amount of hours to work out, make sure you bring that up in the interview process before you take the job.
So you can check out this video to see what we've done on one of our days off, just exploring the area. And actually today we got to drive right back through Crawford Notch State Park. Everywhere we drive away from our campground that we're working at is a beautiful view. And 2 of those roads go straight through beautiful state parks, Crawford Notch State Park and Franconia Notch State Park. Just awesome.
All right, that was a great question. We're gonna keep
Absolutely.
enjoying our day off. Penguin mentioned that they did not see many tent campers in the campground and then also commented that family-owned campgrounds are the best.
All right, praise Jesus, the sun is out. You see it coming up there. It's early in the morning. It's not early. So at Twin Mountain KOA, we have a beautiful tent camping area. Almost feels like a state or national park. Last weekend, there weren't many tent campers because the weather was just so miserable. It was just constant rain and like in the 50s in the daytime. right? Got down to I think 40s at night. It was just cold and miserable and really tough conditions. We still did have some people tent camping, but a lot of people did decide to take off. This weekend we do have tent campers, and so I wanted to kind of show you what that looks like here at the KOA. Look at this. See the tents back in here, over there. Look at that. Good to see our tent campers back. A lot of hikers. There's so many hiking trails here, so we get a lot of hikers that are tent camping and a lot of families, and some families that are hiking. So, pretty cool. As you can see, there's a lot more happy tent campers this weekend, so there you go. The other half of that comment was that family-run campgrounds are the best, and we would really agree with that. If you like sort of the consistency of corporate campgrounds like KOAs, that's something you want to consider, because from private campground to private campground, they can be totally different as far as amenities. They can be totally different as far as upkeep. From what I've heard, a lot of people who have experience going through corporate campgrounds, they can also be totally different from one to the next. But there is a rating system to kind of help you with that. But we do enjoy the fact, for instance, Mackinac Mill Creek, beautiful campground, and it is 100% family run. So any decisions that are made for the campground are made at the campground. They don't have to call anybody. They don't have to call the corporate office or anything like that. So they can handle it right then. You know exactly what that direction is. And obviously they are personally invested in their campground. That's their family's legacy. So we loved that about Mackinac Mill Creek and other private campgrounds where they really care about the campground, you know, with their heart and soul. All right, so question number 4 is actually more of a comment. Valerie mentioned what an amazing job the ladies do, and as a camper, how much she appreciated that. Now, I'm gonna take this one because that was the first time I actually watched Kimberly and Autumn do their work, as well as when I saw it on the video. I couldn't believe the detail they put into cleaning those cabins. So Valerie, thank you so much. Kimberly and Autumn would think no big deal, but thank you for recognizing and commenting and giving those encouraging words for the girls. I know that they appreciate it. Okay.
So Jimmy asked, is the firewood free or is it included in your site fee?
All right, so the firewood is not free. It's not included in your camping fee, but the delivery absolutely is. At almost every KOA that we've been to, the firewood delivery has been free, and ice delivery. Down at the Cherokee KOA in North Carolina, they'll even deliver pizzas to your site. No extra charge.
So it's time to go and switch the laundry back over to the dryers. Marilyn asked, how long of a commitment do we give to the campground, or how much does the campground require? Okay, so the time commitment question is a good one, and it varies from campground to campground. Our shortest time commitment has been 6 weeks, and that was at the state park when we were lighthouse hosts. A camp host had backed out, and so they needed somebody in a pinch, so we were able to go fill in there. Most campgrounds would like a 3-month commitment, but that's just, again, something that you need to work out with the manager that you're interviewing with before you take the job. They usually let their expectations be known up front, and if you're not able to fulfill their commitment, just be honest with them and tell them, you know, no, I can only do a 3-month commitment. And most of them are pretty good about working with you, and if not, it's good to know up front. So to answer the question, typically anywhere from 3 to 6 months is a commitment for work camping.
Okay, Big Dan said he wants to know, what does this shirt say? Well, here it is. I never dreamed I'd end up being a son-in-law of a freaking awesome mother-in-law, but here I am, living the dream. Guess who got me this? Yep, my mother-in-law, but she is freaking awesome. Andrea says she loves the drain zipper and the drain weasel and that they're awesome, but we have an update on that. Last week we showed you the drain zipper that we use to get clogs out of our drain, especially hair clogs. It worked really well for the customer and they were super happy. Also, apparently people really love the drain weasel. We haven't tried that. Based on our subscriber feedback, we have added that to our Amazon store. Check out the link down below. But there's an update on this. In the older RVs, the drain zipper will work fine. But in the newer RVs, you gotta be careful. So the drain zipper is a great tool and it works really well for us. But there's two different kind of odor traps that you could have under your sink and under your shower. Let me show you what I'm talking about. If you have a P-trap like this, it looks like a U shape and then comes back up and then goes to the drain, then you're in great shape to use the drain zipper or the drain weasel. But there's another kind of trap called a HEPVO valve. It does not use the U-shape holding water to prevent odors from coming from your tank back up through your drain. It's just a straight pipe that has a little rubber valve inside that uses water pressure to open it and then doesn't allow the gases to come back out. If you don't have that U-shaped P-trap and you see just a straight valve with a little bump on it, you're going to want to remove that before you use the drain zipper. Otherwise, you may run that drain zipper in there, catch that rubber valve, rip it, and then you'll have odor coming back out from your tank and you'll need to get a new HEPVO valve. It's super easy to tell though. Just look under your sink. If you've got a U-shaped P-trap, you're good. If it comes down and then just is a straight piece with a bump, usually white, you're going to want to remove that. Then go ahead and use your drain zipper to clear your clog, check your valve, make sure it's clear. Clear the drain beyond the valve, put it back together, and you should be in great shape. The last question that we have is, RV wanted to know, when I went to fix the fireplace in last week's video, did it just fire right up? Let me show you what we had to do to get it going. All right, now we're gonna solve the mystery of the fireplace. What was wrong with the gas fireplace? Let me show you. The issue the customer was having, and I also had with the fire pit, is you gotta push that knob in, turn it, click it, it lights like that, and then you gotta hold it down, because if you let it go, it'll go out. So you gotta hold it down, and then that will heat up that thermocouple over there, which allows the propane to stay on. It's a safety for the fireplace. That way if the fire goes out, it doesn't just put a bunch of propane out into the air. And there you have it. Big Harv, that's what was wrong with the fire pit. It was working fine. The customer didn't know because they weren't familiar with this, and I hadn't actually lit this before, so I didn't know. I had to figure it out when I got up here. But we got the fire pit lit, and as you saw in last week's video, the customer was chilling in just a couple of minutes and loved it. So that's what we're here for. That's a big part of what work camping is.
James had to go to work, so I just went and finished up the last bit of laundry, grabbed it on my way home, start some dinner, and there's James at work. Bye.
Bye.
Alright, so y'all had some great questions. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And I'm gonna continue my day. Bye-bye.